Hey, this is ThinkerThunker. I now have a new YouTube channel called The Whoop Project, where people submit their Bigfoot encounter information to me, along with the vocalizations that they recorded. I then go through and analyze those recordings to see if it was some known species, a human hoax, or the real deal. And I have the first of 2 out of 10 encounters that have been submitted to me already out there. So go check it out. And if you are hearing these bizarre vocalizations, get to this channel. This is the place. Check it out. Hey, this is ThinkerThunker. It is completely impossible to know exactly how tall the Independence Day Bigfoot here is, because it's not standing directly next to anything of a known size. But the interesting thing is that Adobe Photoshop has a ruler tool. Now, that tool couldn't possibly tell us, or couldn't possibly know how tall the figure is, but it will let us do something interesting. It will let us measure the limbs in pixels, like highly accurate measurements. And if we can do that, we can know 100% for sure whether or not this thing is a human or something else. So let's check it out. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is blow this image up as large as I could get it without crashing my computer. And so if I press this, we get the image size box, and I'll convert these from centimeters to inches. And we can see that this image is currently 96 inches in height, which is 8 foot tall, which means our dark mystery figure here is somewhere around 7 foot tall. That's huge. So now I'm going to start zooming in as far as I can go. I've zoomed in 3,200% down to the little colored squares called pixels that make up this image. And there are millions of them. So if I click and drag, Adobe's ruler tool will tell me how many pixels I've measured. And we can see that right here. I just measured 5 pixels. So now let's zoom back out. And I have placed some dots right here. This red dot is the base of the neck. This one goes down to the tip of the tailbone. Yellow is obviously shoulder down to the elbow. And the green goes from the hip socket down to the knee, down to the ankle. And I'll zoom in a little more so you can see what I'm doing. Watch the L right there. I'm going to click in the center and drag down. And Adobe tells us that there is 1,099.34 pixels from the hip down to the knee. So now all I have to do is take all of these other measurements the exact same way. And then I took all of those cold, hard, highly accurate measurements taken from a wall-size image and dumped them into a spreadsheet. And look up top. Here is the Independence Day Bigfoot. These are the actual measurements in pixels. Torso, 2,153 pixels long. Arms, 2,111. Legs, 2,257. Look at all 3 of those numbers. Relatively close. And we see that when looking at the bar chart here generated from those numbers. We see a torso, arms, and legs all the same relative length. Here's a tip. Your proportions don't look like this. Your proportions look like red team over here. Look, I measured a human male skeleton, torso, 1,563, arms, 1,523. Then we take a jump up in like 600 pixels for the legs, 2,137. And we see that huge jump, almost 30% difference. Then I measured the Patterson Bigfoot and the human female skeleton and got the exact same results. So you are looking at simple, scientific, highly accurate measurements that prove that we are looking at 2 different species with profoundly different body proportions. And look, I can tell by the comments that this doesn't mean anything to a lot of you guys, because a lot of you guys are confusing the words size with proportions. Here, think of this. This Ford F-150 represents the body proportions of all normal, typical adult humans, whereas this Ford F-150 represents the body proportions of forest giants. Does that make sense? And that's just a size difference where you take every little part of an object or figure and scale it up or down. So size difference, proportional difference. Does that help? And hey, Ford, why don't you step up, set yourself apart, and be the first corporation that actually funds scientific research of Bigfoot? I'm waiting for your call. Or how about this? Which of these two vertical lines is the longest? It's the one on the right, right? By a lot. Wrong. Look, if I take all the errors away, we see that those two lines are the exact same length. We have known this since the 1800s. This is a scientific experiment done by a psychiatrist named Mueller-Lyer, proving that we humans stink at judging proportions. All humans, even scientists. So it's no wonder nobody has ever been able to look at the Independence Day Bigfoot and see how profoundly bizarre its body proportions are. And for all you guys down in the comments who believe swimming Olympic god Michael Phelps has the most bizarre body proportions on the planet, and he has the longest torso on the planet, and Phelps single-handedly proves all of my proportional theories wrong. He wears Speedos, guys. He wears hip-hugging swim trunks. It's an illusion. And to prove that, here's Michael Phelps standing next to a little girl. And if I scale that little girl up, look, their shoulders line up, their elbows line up, their wrists line up, their hips line up, and their knees line up, proving that all normal, typical adult humans and even children share the same unique human body proportions. So bottom line here, none of this is my opinion. You have watched me blow these images up to the size of a 9-foot wall and then measure these figures with unprecedented accuracy down to the pixel to prove that whatever this species is, it has a torso and arms and legs all the same relative length. Plus, you've seen me demonstrate the Mueller-Lyer illusion that proves that all humans stink at judging proportions. That goes for scientists and all great thinkers because they are humans too, and they are subject to the same quirks and flaws in human perceptions that all the rest of us are. So it's little wonder that no one has ever seen or noticed these proportions until I stumbled onto it. And I get that it's even harder to judge those proportions when we're looking at dark figures covered in thick fur. So here are 3 superstars: Shaquille O'Neal, Taylor Swift, Michael Phelps. I have given all 3 four-shot body proportions. So have a good look. This is what a human would look like with a torso, arms, and legs, all the same relative length. And if I drop in some lines here, we can see that all 5 of them, their shoulders line up, their elbows line up, their wrists line up, their hips line up, and their knees line up. So this isn't some illusion. So until humans start turning up looking like these 3 over here on the left, proving that it is possible for humans to get in monkey suits and look like these 2 on the right, then I have effectively proved that big furry giants do in fact exist. If you want to call them Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, fine with me. Okay, I'm going to wrap up on this. So statistically speaking, I know that only 26% of you are still watching this video. So I'm going to share something with you that I've never shared before. I am at a site called socialblade.com. Anybody can go there and look all this up. Social Blade grades every single YouTube channel there is, and there's like over 50 million of them. This is mine. You can see I've got a B-. You can see I'm ranked 796,000th in the world, which ain't bad considering there's over 50 million YouTube channels. You can see in just the US, I'm ranked 2008th, which ain't bad considering it's just little bitty old me competing with movie production companies and studios and universities and corporations and TV stations and on and on and on. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. But if you keep looking around, you'll see the reason why I think my patrons and my YouTube members at the end of every video, because if it wasn't for your $1 a month, some more on Patreon, if it wasn't for your monthly support, I simply would not be able to afford all the time I've spent over all these years doing all this research and making all these videos without you. So thank you so very much. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you so much for watching.